It happened only a few hundred yards from the Honister Slate Mine and Visitor Centre, which Mr. Weir owned. The alarm was raised after he didn't return home from work. He leaves his wife and 3 children. Ryan Dollard is there for us this evening.
Mr. Weir's family called the police when he failed to return home from work at 10 o'clock last night. After a full-scale mounted rescue search, his body was later found in the wreckage of his helicopter at 1 o'clock this morning. His death has sent shockwaves throughout the Cumbrian tourist industry. Surveying the wreckage, it's clear no one could have survived this crash. Investigators have a more difficult question. How did it happen to an experienced pilot who'd made this journey so many times before? The police won't be drawn into speculation, but last night's weather could well have been a factor.
If we have a line of sight for where Mr. Weir would have been flying, the helicopter's been found in exactly the opposite direction. So there's a number of things that could be a feature. You can see the wind now, but clearly, the way we're really going to get to the bottom of this is probably through the Civil Aviation Authority's investigation.
A popular figure and a major employer in the Lake District, Mr. Weir's body was discovered by the local mountain rescue team shortly before 1 o'clock this morning, after his family raised the alarm.
At midnight last night, Coppenworth team came across wreckage about 200 or 300 metres down from Honister Mine, and a subsequent search after that obviously found the pilot.
Over the last 15 years, Mark Weir became an innovator and a well-known face of Cumbria's tourism industry. A local man with a passion for the Lake District, he died in the shadow of one of his greatest achievements, turning the Honister Slate Mine into one of the area's most successful tourist attractions, fulfilling a long-standing dream to regenerate and bring jobs back to South Cumbria.
Here we are standing in a beautiful park, the centre of the Lake District, 3 miles from where I was born, and now we've created this platform, stage, call it what you will, for hopefully the regeneration of Cumbria to be kick-started by us on top of the mine.
It was an ambition he certainly achieved. A keen helicopter pilot for many years, he died doing something he loved in the place closest to his heart. His passing will be widely mourned, and it's expected an inquest will be eventually held to establish the exact cause of this tragic accident. I'm joined now by a close friend of Mr. Weir's, Ellis Butcher. Ellis, this must be a terrible shock for his friends and family because he was such an experienced pilot.
Absolutely. Mark never took risks in his helicopter. He took a few risks in business. He would never take a chance with a helicopter. He'd park it on a postage stamp. He was such a good helicopter pilot. So as you can imagine, we're just mystified as to how this has happened.
You mentioned Mark's business skills. He did transform tourism in this part of the Lake District. Just how big a figure was he?
I think he was incomparable, really. There was no one like Mark Weir. He was very opinionated. Sometimes he rubbed people up the wrong way, but actually a lot of people respected him because he made Honister one of the most popular tourist attractions in the Lake District, but also one of the most popular tourist attractions in England and the UK.
And the benefits Mark brought weren't just seen here, he brought them for the whole region.
Absolutely, he was very committed to Borrowdale. He was a dyed-in-the-wool Cumbrian. It was as hard as the slate that he mined, and he absolutely loved and felt very passionately about jobs in this area, the rural Borrowdale Valley. It was really in his DNA, and it's such a tragic loss.
But also he was a dedicated family man. Tell us, how are his family dealing with today's news?
I mean, his family are incredibly strong, like him, they're Cumbrian as well, and they're just taking spirit from everything that Mark brought to them. He was a bit of a comet. He's flashed across a lot of people's lives, and we're richer for it. Sadly tonight the county's a bit poorer for it.
Ellis Butcher, thank you very much for being with us this evening. It will be some time before we know exactly what caused Mark Weir's death. It's expected that in the coming months there'll be an inquest and we'll finally find the reason behind today's tragic accident.